Hi everyone, Elvis here, your camera craftsman, and I have not shown my face in front of a camera for a very long time because we have been very busy finishing the final batch of the large format cameras, the 4x10 this time around. And as some of you might know, especially those of you who have ordered your cameras, most of the 4x5 regular and range versions have been shipped a while ago and the feedback has been phenomenal. And the last camera that remained in this batch was the 4x10. And the reason why it took even longer for this one to get produced is that I learned quite a lot during the production of the smaller versions, and I implemented already some changes in the actual design and production process of these bigger cameras. I wanted to take a moment to briefly explain all the challenges that I've faced over the past year while I was trying to bring this camera to life, all the ups and downs and everything that I've learned in between. And also I would like to formally apologize for the things that I didn't do right. So let's get into it. First, I would like to get something very important off of my chest, and that is that I would like to apologize to all of you who have gotten a very late reply to some of your emails, even late shipments, and just I feel like my customer service has not been near to what as it should be in the past year, and the reason for that is essentially I just could not keep up with everything that was going on in the shop. Turned out to be a pretty decent mess that I have now finally gotten myself out of. And yeah, I just want to say that I am forever grateful for all of you who have waited so patiently to get your cameras. I know once you receive them, like, it has been proven time and time again that everybody who gets the camera is super excited, and they forget that it took such a long time to bring the camera to them. Anyways, I still want to give you my formal apology for all the inconveniences that this lack of communication has maybe caused on your end. I know some of you planned to have some photo trips and stuff like that done with your 4x5 Eikans, and because of the delays, these photo trips didn't happen in the way that you intended them to be. Yeah, unfortunately, bringing something to life with such complexity, it's just took way longer than I ever imagined or expected. So thank you again for your generous support and for standing by me all this time. This project started in 2023. Around this time in February, I started designing the first prototype for the 4x5 Eikan, and around the month of May we launched the Kickstarter campaign, and it took us almost half a year longer than the expected delivery date to ship most of the regular 4x5 Eikans, and now almost a year later we're shipping the 4x10s. So the reason why it's taking so long and why it took so long, there were numerous things that went horribly wrong during the production of this camera, and I'm going to give you a little brief rundown on what my thought process was and how it actually played out. So most of you know my company from the ONDU Pinhole cameras, which are pretty much the nicest pinhole cameras that you can find to date. And the reason why they're so nice is that it takes a lot of hand hours to build one of these cameras. So in actuality, I was looking to up my game, to challenge myself creatively, as well as to just see what I can do different as a designer, hence the 4x5 cameras. Also, I kind of wanted a nice camera for myself, so this was kind of a nice excuse to start making these. But little did I know that in my head, I had the idea that these cameras are going to be easier to produce than the actual pinhole cameras. And while it might be in terms of time scale, the actual hand finishing is longer on a pinhole camera than the large format camera, because I utilize a lot of CNC machining, laser cutting, and 3D printing to produce a large format camera. But I didn't understand that relying solely or mostly on subcontractors and outside manufacturing, that this brings with it a set of problems. So when you imagine a company that you look at their website, everything seems professional, everything seems that people know what they're doing, but in essence, they're just people. People make mistakes, people are tired, people, don't get enough sleep, like most of us probably. And this shows in the actual chain of command and the building processes and so on. Now I understand how to communicate. Now I know how to specify things. Now I know how to be strict with my expectations when I order certain things. But when I started this journey, I didn't know. I thought that you send a drawing, some STL files or some DXF format files to the manufacturer, and they're gonna know how to do their jobs properly. But it turned out not to be the case. And that's one of the reasons why it took so long to bring these cameras to life. On top of that, I made mistakes. I was not confident in some of my abilities, and this had sometimes a cascading effect down the road, which led to even longer delivery times and so on. One big problem that plagued me last year is that a lot of people canceled their pre-orders for the 4x5 cameras. And this is something that has never happened to me before, because I already had 3 Kickstarters before and also big pre-order campaigns, and I would see a few dropouts of pre-orders, but nothing on the scale that happened last year with the 4x5 Eikan. And the reason why this happened, I guess, is that we were late. People expected a camera by summer, the cameras were not there, they wanted to spend their money somewhere else. Fair game, I completely understand. But when you are building products like this, the only way it can be feasible is that you order stuff in bulk and in stock, because higher quantities drive down price, but then you're stuck with stock. If you can sell it, you can't really do with that. You have kind of tied down your cash flow, and this is exactly what happened last year. So at some point I could not even bring on more workers because I just did not have the necessary cash flow to keep stuff going. So there would be, 1 or 2, sometimes 3 people building the cameras slowly instead of having 4 or 5 or 6 people chugging at the production line. Because of this uncertainty, because of this extra pressure that I was under, I started getting severely anxious during the production of these cameras. And this anxiety and stress and lack of sleep and so on had a kind of a compounding effect where I would just make poor decisions, or I would not see certain things, and things kind of snowballed. It just started getting worse and worse and worse and worse. One lucky thing that I had going was the pinhole cameras. We made a pretty big stock of pinhole cameras, and the sales of these cameras were actually filling the void in the production of the large format cameras. So that's very nice that I had at least this backup, that I didn't have to rely on bank funding or whatever to get myself out of this hole. But it was a slow process, but we came to the end anyways. So now I am quite confident in my abilities of scaling these cameras to even larger formats like 8x10 and maybe some ultra large format stuff. And for now, I'm just really eager to ship the remainder of the cameras to my Kickstarter backers and a few pre-order cameras. And yeah, that was an insane ride. And one day I would like to maybe do a longer video explaining all the steps that happened, because now I think it's just important for you to see that things are going well and that we are almost at the final stage. And one of the things that kept me going was knowing that your feedback is going to influence the actual design process and further production of the cameras. And the first batch that went out, I already got some really valuable feedback, and I already implemented some minor changes in maybe the production workflow or the actual design of the cameras. I learned how to make bellows very well now. Me and my team can churn up a bunch of bellows very fast, even though it's a pretty time-consuming process, but like there are no more errors, at least in the actual production process, which is really nice. That was one of my biggest headaches, was how to produce the camera bellows. I spent many nights having nightmares where the paper would just delaminate or the fabric would fall apart, or there would be like random light leaks and stuff like that. Like I severely had nightmares about the bellows. They were the single most difficult item to produce in the actual assembly of the cameras. I could have gone the easy way and ordered a bunch of bellows from China or from the UK. There's a company making them there, but I wanted to learn how it is to produce everything from scratch, the whole camera. And on top of just redesigning and finishing everything to the end, I started designing some film holders. This is a 4x10 film holder that is gonna soon be scaled to an 8x10, which means there's gonna be an 8x10 camera as well. And here is the first 4x10 to 4x5 reducing back. It's gonna fit the regular 4x10 cameras, which means that you're gonna be able to use the 4x5 sheet film on a 4x10 camera. I think that's a pretty neat addition. This hasn't been fully finalized. There's going to be some veneer inlays in here and stuff like that to make it more appealing. But I'm looking forward to making these kind of add-ons in the future, especially for the 4x5. There's going to be a 6x17 panoramic add-on and stuff like that. Very soon I'm going to also bring to life an upgrade kit for the 4x5 Eikans, which is going to have independent front riser movements. I managed to make a really streamlined design on this part, and it's kind of being fine polished right now, and I think in early spring it should be out for those of you who will want to have that as a feature. And probably going forward it's going to be like a standard feature by default. I didn't make it in the first version because I didn't see it so necessary, but since I got so many requests, I'm just like, I sat down, figured it out, and now it's going to be a thing. Some of you might know that I'm also a big fan of wet plate photography. It's actually one of the things that drove me to make a large format camera, and I really want to devote more attention to the actual production, to the actual wet plating aspect of my creative work. And for that reason, I bought a huge truck that I want to convert into a semi-darkroom, semi-living space with which I can travel and take wet plate pictures. But more on that sometime later. But these are the new wet plate holders, and they have some nifty features that I haven't seen with any plate holder so far on the market. But I'm gonna delve into this a bit later. They're very sturdy, and like I said, I'm gonna show you some of the features that they have once I actually make a small batch and that they will be ready to sell. So next is that I'm going to start making larger format cameras, 8x10, even ultra large systems. So all the cameras that you already know now, the standard, the range, the 4x10 and the upcoming models, they will also exist in a more kind of robust full aluminum version that might cater to some of you who maybe potentially don't want to have a wooden camera, but more of a technical kind of vibe. This is a very short video that I wanted to kind of quickly showcase all the things that have been going on, that you can see that we are up and about and working and in full action still. Yeah, one thing that I forgot to mention is that there is a possibility that I will stop producing the pinhole cameras, and the reason is that I never was able to find somebody to manufacture them for me, but I, as a small company, just don't have the capacity anymore to keep producing them at the scale and the variety of formats that we were doing until now. I know I've gotten a lot of messages from people all over the world after I've sent this newsletter out, encouraging me to keep them going and keep them somehow alive. And while I would like to do so, I can't make any promises, and there's a chance that this last batch that we're building with around, I don't know, 600-700 cameras, that it might be the last one. It kind of feels weird to stop producing something that has been my sole livelihood for the past 12 years. And like I said, we might still make them in some reasonable series, I'm not sure yet, but I would like to step back and do some other creative stuff, mostly actual photography and these large format cameras that I started making right now. So thank you all that have stuck by me and supported me and my work for the past 12 years. It's a pretty long time. We've made more than 10,000 cameras and they're all over the world and making amazing pictures. People keep sending me their books made primarily with the ONDU Pinhole cameras, and also just I actually made a PDF of all the thank you emails that I got from all of you, and I honestly had no idea that you know, a simple pinhole camera can change somebody's creative vision. And just for the first time now, I'm really proud of what I've done. Before, I've just unfortunately viewed my cameras just as work, and I know I did a pretty good job and they're really nicely made and so on, but I didn't think of them so fondly as I do now. Thanks to all of your feedback. And before we leave, I would like to maybe show you how the 4x10 camera works. Just show you how to unfold it and how to load the film holder, and just give you a little brief rundown on the actual camera and what it can do. So since the 4x10 is a pretty new camera and there's not much info about it, I'm going to show you how it's unfolded and all the features, some of the features that it has. So to unfold the camera, we untighten the rear locking knobs, and there's a 90-degree stop pin, kind of positions it vertically. And to unfold the front standard, we bring the front focusing rail and the front knobs and kind of bring the whole thing back and up. And then there's two little pins that we use to position the zero. And now we lock everything in place. There's a little protective patch here that I put in for transport so that the vibrations don't make any scratches and stuff. Here we have also some engraved lines on the top which show you where the parallel plane to the film plane is. So once we have that done, we can show you the back of the camera. The ground glass is protected by a magnetically attached plate, and there's a few notches here that you can use kind of to pry this off. The actual ground glass also has a Fresnel screen by default, like all the cameras in the ONDU range. Yeah, it has a very nice rendition. Yeah, quite satisfied with how it looks, but you're gonna be the judge of that once you get the camera. The camera also has a bailback design, which means you can use the bailback levers to load your cassette, lock everything in place, make your exposure, put everything back, give relief again, pull the slider out, and now you're ready to take and compose the next shot. For the actual extension of the camera, we're gonna bring the rail, the front standard to the front, and move the focusing rail all the way to its final position, which is going to give you around 32 centimeters of full extension. But because this is a modular camera and it also has the range extension, you can also extend the rear standard to 42 centimeters. So that's your setup like this. This is a pretty sturdy package for its weight and the extension range that we can achieve. So to fold everything back, we just loosen these bottom two knobs, bring the rear standard forward, and slowly bring the front focusing rail to like a few centimeters from the final position. Unlock these zeroing tabs, put the protective felt under, and slowly unlock the tabs, bring everything down and forward, and kind of ease everything in. And that's it. Camera is ready to be transported. Attach this magnetically, just to show you that the magnets are super strong. This whole thing won't fall off. And that's it. Is your 4x10 Eikan. Looking forward to shipping these, and yeah, very soon also bringing the film holders to life so that you can actually get to use them with the full ONDU kit. Comparison of the 4x5 and the 4x10, the same chassis, but a bit of a difference in the final execution. And this camera isn't even that much heavier than the 4x5, which is pretty nice. So that's it for now. We're gonna ship these and hopefully we'll be back with some more exciting stuff soon.